Last weekend, I continued the search for my bridesmaid's dress. I went thrifting in San Francisco on Haight Street. There's kind of just like a cluster of a bunch of different thrift stores on that street. A friend of mine had gone thrifting there recently and she said that it was pretty good, so I decided to go check it out. Haight Street also has kind of the vibe I'm looking for in a bridesmaid's dress, in that it's kind of more quirky and whimsical and a little more edgy, and I feel like that's really what I want my dress to look like. Here's the inspo for a reminder. I might change and tweak some things because, as I said in my last video, I feel like thrifting is a really great way to refine what it is you are looking for. And it also kind of opens up possibilities of like things you didn't even know you were looking for. I'm wearing a tank top that I thrifted in my last thrifting video, and I've just paired it with these Adidas track pants that I'm obsessed with. I wear them all the time, also thrifted. And I actually think this could be kind of a cool festival outfit because I'm going to Outside Lands in August. And I think this could be a kind of cute, comfy vibe. Obviously, I need to warm it up a little bit, but I think it's doable. So we'll see. I will say the straps are very thin and I find myself like pulling this up a lot, which isn't like the best for a festival, but we'll see. I started off at Goodwill, which I feel like is kind of just like always classic. You know, there's going to be like quantity, not necessarily quality. So it's a little bit more of a hunt, but if you can find something, the price is usually at the lower end. I do feel like Goodwill has gotten a little bit expensive over the years. It was kind of hard to film in there. I didn't really find that much in terms of dresses. There was one cute dress, I think it was from Lulu's, and it was kind of this like tiered flowy vibe, but it was the wrong shade of green and it just like wouldn't have worked out, but I did think it was cute. There was a nice wine colored dress that had this really pretty draping, but it was too small for me, so I didn't even bother trying it on. And after exhausting the dress rack, I did browse around in the rest of the store and I found this really nice long sleeve that I did end up buying. It's 95% modal and 5% spandex. I feel like all those intimissimi long sleeves that people are obsessed with are modal and cashmere. Obviously this one is missing the cashmere, but I still thought it would be a nice layering piece. It's also interesting, and I didn't realize this until I tried it on, but it has like a flared sleeve that I think is fun. I think it could be a cool vibe. I'm kind of looking to upgrade some of the basics in my closet, so this just felt like a good one to pick up, and it was $8.49. After Goodwill, I went to Wasteland, which I actually wasn't planning to go into because I had thought that Wasteland was like super duper expensive, which some of the stuff is, but not everything is priced that way. They definitely do know their designers and stuff. So if it is a designer or a higher end brand, they do mark it up. You can have some good finds there still that aren't going to break the bank. I saw this really pretty green dress. It's kind of an interesting shape that I didn't know if it'd be flattering on me, and it ended up not fitting, so I didn't film myself in it. I thought the concept of the dress was really pretty, and it was a designer my mom recognized, but I didn't. That dress would have been like $88, I think. I did try on this burgundy mesh key dress that I thought was really pretty, but there was a couple things that I didn't love about it. I don't really want a strapless dress. I just don't feel like they're that comfortable. I feel like I'm always having to adjust it, and it's just not the vibe if I'm going to be like having fun and dancing with my friends at this wedding. So that already was like a little bit of a flaw, but it's something that's fixable if I did want to get the dress and get it tailored or something. But I feel like kind of the bigger issue to me was that it just wasn't quite the vibe I was looking for. It was a little bit too simple. And my whole point of wanting to thrift my dress is that I want to find something more interesting and more fun and a little bit more unique. And I just didn't feel like this was that. It also was too big on me, which again could have been fixed with tailoring, but I didn't feel that that was a dress worth tailoring. But it was only $28, so it could have been worth it, but it just still wasn't going to be quite interesting enough for me. I then went into a small shop called Chameleon, but I honestly don't think I even took any footage of being there because it was super tiny and they had zero dresses. I honestly didn't even really look through much of what they did have just because my main mission is finding a dress, so I kind of walked in and then walked out. And I went across the street to Held Over. They were having a 50% off the entire store sale going on, which was very intriguing, but it wasn't quite the vibe of what I'm looking for. It actually reminded me a lot of Mars in Berkeley. If you remember, kind of an iconic place. They are now shut down, which is devastating. And I saw that it was replaced by a smoke shop, which I feel like there's like 17,000 smoke shops on Telegraph. So I don't know why they felt they needed that. But Mars was literally such a fun place to just go and browse. I remember when I was in high school, my friends and I would go there all the time and just try on different fun things and shop their denim. Held Over had such a similar vibe in terms of like the way that they organized their stock. There was like different decades and different occasions and just like some things that were like super specific, but they had a whole bunch of. And it was all like very vintage and antique feeling, which I feel like it was a little bit too vintage for what I was looking for. There was this one really cool dress that I thought was super whimsical and just very interesting, but it was in the wrong colors. But I just loved the floral detailing on it and the way that it kind of like goes down the entire dress, and then there's some like layers at the bottom. I don't know, it was very cool. I took like a video of it so that I could maybe try to DIY something in that style in the future. I don't know if I'm that talented with my sewing skills anymore. I used to be able to sew and I have not done it in probably a decade, but recently I've kind of been feeling that itch to relearn how to sew. I'm saving so many things on Pinterest that I think are like cool clothes that I just never see out and about, and I'm tempted to try to just like make it myself. So if that's interesting to anybody out there, let me know and maybe I will try to embark on that. But I also have like so many different side projects going on right now that I feel like I should not embark on that as well. After held over, I took a little lunch break. I was actually with my parents thrifting this day. I just didn't film them because I choose to be on the internet, but they do not. We went to one of my favorite pizza places ever. It's called Escape from New York Pizza, also on Haight Street, obviously. I was kind of a weird child and I didn't like a lot of foods that most children like I didn't really like hamburgers or pizza, but I remember going to this place and getting their sun-dried tomato artichoke pizza and loving it. I feel like it was one of the first slices of pizza that I ever truly loved as a child. And now I love pizza. Like I'll eat pizza all the time. The potato garlic one is also super good. So I had that as my second slice. Directly across the street from Escape from New York is a little vintage shop called Roommate's Vintage. I wasn't planning on going in there, but we were sitting at a table by the window and I was looking out the window, like staring at this store. And I was like, maybe we should just pop in. After lunch, we crossed the street and went into Roommates, and I went straight to their dress section. And they had so many pretty dresses. I ended up falling in love with this yellow dress that had a cool like circular pattern on it that felt very vintage to me. And then it had this like great drop waist and little detail. I also loved the neckline. It was kind of like a cowl neck situation. There was also a really pretty green dress that I think was by the same designer as the yellow dress. It was by the designer Jonathan Martin, who I hadn't heard of before, so I ended up trying both of those on. The green one was a little bit too small, but the yellow dress fit perfectly. I think I said this in my last thrifting video, but I'm also just trying to upgrade my wardrobe in general, but specifically my fancy dress collection. I don't really have that many fancy dresses. I'm 28, so I feel like I haven't had that many events that I've had to go to in my life so far where I've like needed a multitude of nice dresses. But I feel like as my friends and I kind of like reach this phase of life, there's just more and more things presenting themselves that I'm finding I need nice dresses for. And I don't really want to fall into the trap that I did so often when I was younger of impulse buying or stress buying clothes for specific events. Because I felt like a lot of times I would go shopping for a specific party or event or celebration. I would kind of just buy whatever dress I felt like was good enough, and it wasn't usually something that I like actually genuinely loved. So I want to shop without that like time constraint and feel that pressure to just like buy something to have something for the event. And I want to get pieces that I actually love and want to have in my collection. And I felt like this dress was one of those. So obviously I got it. I'm like so obsessed. Like look at the drop waist. So cute. I love it so much. And I love how the bottom is kind of like different lengths and it just has that very like fairy whimsical feel. Unfortunately, this dress is not the correct color for my bridesmaid's dress, so I can't use it for that, but I am happy to add this to my fancy dress collection, and I'm sure that there will be some kind of event in the near future that I can wear this to. I also didn't realize until after I bought it, but it is 100% silk, which is insane. Roommate's Vintage was a little bit of a pricier store, so this dress was $50, but for a 100% silk, nice, fancy, pretty dress that I am obsessed with and that fits me well, I'm not even mad about it. After trying on this dress and realizing like it needed to come home with me, I didn't even look at anything else in the store because I didn't want to look at them. I didn't want to look at their price tags. I didn't want my total to go up. So I kind of just walked it straight to the register and brought it home. I'm very happy with that find. And maybe one day when I have a little bit more cash to spend, I will head back to Roommates and see what else they have to offer. It in general was such a great store. There was also a really cute bag by the front that I was tempted to get, but then I saw that it was $60 and I just had to put it down and put it out of my mind. But the guy working there that day was also super nice. He's Filipino and was talking to my parents about being Filipino and being in the Bay Area and stuff. And he just was so sweet. So great vibes, love roommates. If you're in that area, go check them out. On our way out of Haight Street, we decided to pop into Indigo Vintage. This was kind of similar to roommates in terms of pricing, but I went straight to their dress rack, checked it out. There wasn't really much that would work for this wedding, but they did have a lot of really pretty dresses. I just didn't want to try anything on and didn't want to buy anything else because I already had spent $50 on that yellow dress. So I kind of just left it at that. But they did have a festival rack, which I think is a really fun concept, especially in San Francisco. And as they get closer to all the festivals happening, I think Coachella is coming up decently soon. So I think it's a great idea that they're putting out a little curated festival rack. I did take a peek through it to see if there was anything of potential for outside lands, but it definitely was giving a Coachella vibe because it is way too cold at outside lands to wear any of the things on that rack. There was probably the smallest skirt that I've ever seen. It looked like a belt, but I'm like pretty sure it was a skirt. We then decided to leave Haight Street and head over to the Mission, specifically for Community Thrift Store. CTS is always a great one to stop into. It's pretty big and they have a good range to their selection. They have a little designer area for all the like higher end stuff, and then everything else is priced pretty reasonably. They also have an awesome book selection. I don't think I took any videos of it, but every time I go there, I have to browse the books a little bit because it's one of the most organized book sections in a thrift store that I've ever seen. All the books at thrift stores are usually just like thrown onto a shelf willy-nilly, but these ones are actually categorized by genre and author's last name, which I feel like is kind of rare at thrift stores. I didn't have much luck at CTS. There was one dress that the colors could have worked, but the shape of the dress was kind of giving more like mother of the bride and not really bridesmaid. When we went to the Community Thrift Store, we ended up parking outside of what I think was a like bridal store, and they had such pretty whimsical gowns, and there was this like green one in the window that I thought was literally so pretty, but it definitely would have been more for a bride than a bridesmaid. Like it was giving fairy princess vibes. Kind of another unsuccessful day because I did not find a bridesmaid's dress, but honestly, getting to take home this yellow dress, I do feel like it was kind of a successful day. And I do think that Haight Street was a really good place to go and shop around. And honestly, I would maybe go back in like a few weeks or a month when they've had a chance to cycle out some things and see if they have anything else to offer, because that's how great the selections were at a lot of these stores. I feel like it just in general was more the vibe of what I'm looking for. I was starting to feel a little bit discouraged. I know that feels a little dramatic because I'm still a good ways away from the actual wedding. The wedding's in June. So I still have over 2 whole months to find a dress. But I don't know, I just didn't think it would be like this hard. And I felt like I went to so many stores last weekend and there just like was barely any contenders. And I think that's the main thing. Like if I were able to like try on a bunch of things and it's like, oh, nothing's perfect, like I'd feel a little bit better about it. But the fact that I'm not even finding that many things to even try on is a little bit discouraging. And I know it's harder because I have like a specific color scheme I need to work with. I have a specific like length of the dress that it needs to be. And it obviously has to be like nice enough to wear to a wedding. But I don't know. I just thought that there would be more contenders than this. But I have to stay optimistic. Also, now that I know of Jonathan Martin, I definitely want to look up his name on like Depop, eBay, all the things to see if there's anything by him that might work because I'm really liking his style. And like I said, the other like green dress at Roommates was also by him. I'm optimistic that I will find a dress and I hope you want to continue on this journey with me. I actually do have some exciting news. Next week on Friday, April 3rd, I will be launching my spring 2026 collection of art prints based on a new collection of paintings that I've been working on for probably a little over a year. The collection is going to be called Wandering, and it's based on my first year living back at home after getting laid off and kind of just that moment of feeling a little bit lost and like I didn't know what my next steps were going to be, and kind of that whole journey of me deciding to bet on myself and pursue an art career. This will be my first collection featuring prints based on oil paintings. My previous collection was all from water-based paints, so this will be really exciting. It's my first time painting canvases and having them scanned and turned into prints, so I'm super excited. My website will be shut down all next week until the collection is live, and in terms of YouTube, I might take a break from YouTube next week just so that I can focus on getting this collection out. And if I do post, it might be a day late so that a YouTube video comes out the same day as the collection, but we'll see if I have enough time to swing all of that. Currently, there are 5 oil paintings in the collection, and I'm trying to add 3 gouache paintings to it. I'm finishing up the 3rd gouache painting right now, and then I'm gonna like run it to my printer and see if he can get it done for me in time. So we'll see if I can accomplish that in 1 week. If not, it'll just be the 5 oil paintings to start, and then maybe I'll release the 3 gouache paintings at a later date. This collection means a lot to me because I feel like you can see a lot of my growth and learning through the paintings, and I was actively taking painting classes throughout the time that I was painting each of these canvases. So it's just really cool to see how my art evolved in a pretty short period of time. I can't wait to share it with all of you next Friday on April 3rd. Thank you so much for watching today's video and for going thrifting with me. Definitely a smaller haul today, but equally important as last time's. Comment any of your Bay Area thrift recommendations below. I would love some inspiration and some new shops to go to. Make sure you check out mtorioart.com next Friday, April 3rd at noon to see the new drop. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!